My coming out story is crazy.
Yeah.
I was in my Virgo bag, feeling myself, hormones is raging, all the things. And my dad walked in on me with a girl in high school. Yep. And he walked in on me doing the deed that you're a lesbian. There could have been lots of deeds. He walked in on the one though.
Yeah.
He saw that. He saw his little girl.
He was going crazy.
Going nuts. Doing the things, showing her what I got.
Hey,
that was a terrible day thereafter.
Sorry, Dad. Sorry, Dad. Sorry, Dad. What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Queerly Blax Show. I'm your host, Ashley, and I'm so happy you came by. The Queerly Blax Show aims to normalize the everyday existence of Black, LGBTQIA+ individuals through an interview-style series with regular folks like you and me. So every week, a new guest shares their story and unique perspective on their existence as an LGBTQIA+ individual. Thank you for tuning in, and make sure you subscribe, download, set your reminders to the podcast so you never miss an episode. Enjoy the show. Welcome back to another episode of the Queerly Blax Show. I'm your host, Ashley. Y'all listen. I'm joined today. I already know that y'all see who's on this screen. So I don't have to say anything, but we're going to say it, and I'm going to have her introduce herself. We got Mal, y'all. Mal from the Ultimatum Queer Love. I've been trying to talk to Mal for months, but Mal's been booked and busy. So I just waited patiently in the cut like a, you know what I'm saying, like a third or fourth option on the roster. But you know what? Look, you be patient. And look what happens.
We here. We made it. We're here.
We here. I only play second fiddle to Mal. That's it. Mal, tell the people about yourself.
You gassing me too much. Now I'm bashful. I'm shy. I'm like,
Tell the people about. I was just waiting. I was like, you know what? Mal's busy.
She's just busy. Like a good Virgo, right? Just like a Virgo.
She'll get to me. I'll take what's left. Just like a Virgo. I'll take what's left. No big deal.
That's the only difference between us and other signs. We're just persistent, and we just
very persistent. We just wait. We just sit and wait.
Yep. And we get what we want.
There you go.
Right on time.
Every time. Always get what you want. That's the goal. We sound like men a little bit, but
we do. I don't like that. I don't like where this is going.
Yeah. Mal, tell the people about yourself.
Yeah. What's up, everybody? I am Mal. I was on Ultimatum Queer Love. It's really interesting to introduce myself that way because I'm normally not this type of person where I'm like, what up? I'm out. All this, all this rah-rah. That's not really me. I'm really pretty chill, pretty ducked off. At one point, a corporate baddie.
Hey.
In leadership. And so.
Your polo shirts and your loafers, feel me?
My little Oxfords and all this.
Yeah.
Champion for the people. And yeah, that's me. That's it. A little bit of a hippie.
Yeah.
A little bit of just a chill person. Try to center the most vulnerable. Try to move in harm reduction always in all spaces. And that's really kind of who I am. I grew up in Southern California. I'm like a skater kid at the core.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It makes sense. It makes sense. Yeah. Your vibe is super chill. Let's talk about how you arrived in this space a little bit. So you were in corporate America, doing your thing, climbing the corporate ladder.
Yeah. That's what I thought I wanted to do.
Doing your thing. Then you're in a relationship that, and there's an opportunity to display your love, but then also navigate this crazy process of marriage, or do we get married? Do we stay together? And you come on the show, Ultimatum Queer Love, obviously you guys know. And now you're you're like a celebrity low key.
Very,
so
very
overnight the show comes on, because I know me and all my friends are talking about it, and then you come out of that experience and people are looking for you. They're like, where's Mal? Right? Talk about the mindset going through like that shift, because obviously corporate America, you do your thing, you have your very mundane, your schedule that you do, and then you come into this world where people are like pulling you in every direction. Like, how did you navigate that shift?
It's hard. I'm still navigating it, right? You're still trying to figure out like, where is this going to go, and what do you want to do, and who you say yes to without compromising like your truest self, and the things that you stand for and the things you don't stand for. So it's been weird, and nobody can prepare you for this. There's a lot of people that have gotten to, or, beyond where I'm at right now, whatever level of celebrity we want to call it, that have been working on this for years, right? They've been like tailoring this, and they have a lot more knowledge. And then we just got hit with this kind of overnight. and you just don't know. You don't know what to do. You're making mistakes all the time,
Yeah.
and you're learning from them and pivoting.
Yeah.
I think the cool part is leveraging some of the tools I have from corporate America, because I think climbing that ladder is kind of similar to how you navigate this world, right? And networking and all those things, and choosing the right things and choosing to stand for the right things. So it's very similar tools, similar process, and the punctuality or the professionalism that you learn in corporate America
seriously
apply over here.
Yeah. I was
You
gonna
know,
say you've probably been able to navigate it pretty good, because I think, you know, in corporate America, you deal with some of the biggest snakes you ever deal with in your life.
I'm
So
trying
you
to
get to
tell you.
learn real quick, you know, coming from that world to this world, you know, who got your best interests at heart, who you can
Yeah.
trust, you know, with your story, with yourself, that
Yeah.
whole thing, you know. So no, I definitely I appreciate you coming out and just, you know, handling the platform with care, because we see a lot of people who we feel like are a part of, who represent a part of who we are. You know, obviously I'm a mass presenting Black woman, you are too, and I was like, what? Like, I love this, you know, this representation, but they don't handle the platform with care. You know, it kind of goes left and we start looking crazy afterwards. So I appreciate you for coming out of that and, you know, really taking the ball and running with it in a positive way and making us look good. So I appreciate that. But today, we're not going to talk too much about, you know, the queer love. We are going to talk about it because I know that people care about it. But I want to talk about Mal, right? Like the person, the first question I always ask everybody is, when did you know that you liked the ladies?
When I was like 5. You know, like when you first start having little crushes on people, your little neighbor, whoever, your little friends.
Yeah.
Or you play house. I think this is like the real tall sign, is when you start playing house and you always end up the dad.
Big daddy.
Big dad energy. Or when you just choose it, I'm like, I want to be the dad.
I want to be the dad. I'm
You
trying
know,
to kiss on my mama. Who the mama?
I feel like that might be a sign. I don't know.
100%.
But I feel like that might be a sign.
100%.
You know? So that those times, it's interesting. I think there's this narrative that you had to have had a bad experience with men or something like that. And I just didn't have that experience. I've had great relationships, great boyfriends, great men in my life, you know, great male figures. And so I just kind of always identified with them and liked women, you know?
So you was 5. So did we have some kindergarten girlfriends? Did you recognize that you were gay or you know, liked women and just kind of said, we're not going to do that because we don't do that, right? We don't do that.
Right.
And it's kind of navigated life, elementary school, middle school, high school with boyfriends, or when did you come out in this whole process?
This is funny. So to answer your question, we didn't have language, right? I didn't have language for that, or even, I don't even think I saw examples of queerness around me growing up. I think I'm a little older than everybody. So we didn't have like LGBT groups at school and all that other stuff. We didn't have that. I didn't even know any other person. Yeah.
Mid-30s? Same.
Yeah.
We ain't had none of that.
I didn't see that. Nobody in my family, like, I just thought there was something weird or wrong with me. I remember in middle school, my mom asking me, she's like, do you want to be a boy? My mother's a Jamaican lady. My father's Cuban. And they're immigrants, and they're from a different generation. They're really old also. My dad's 90 years old. So they just come from a different generation. Yeah. And I remember my mom asking me, she's like, do you want to be a boy? And I'm like, no way, you know, but we going school shopping. I'm in the boys section. You know, I want to hang out with the girls. I have these feelings for girls. And I'm like, I don't even know who to share this with, because nobody else is like me.
Yeah.
So you do the thing where you're like, you start dating the boys and you're like, let me just try and figure this out. But then that felt weird. You know, dating boys was like, this doesn't feel right to me at all. Yeah. And then I had my first girl experience at this basketball camp in high school.
Hey, basketball. Shout out to the basketball team.
Shout out. At this basketball camp, you know, because I don't know, there was this girl that was gay and she was hella just out with it. And she was like, I have a crush on you. I'm like, I don't even know what this means. You know, we explored that. And I was like, if I'm going to try this gay thing, I'm going to do all the things. I'm doing everything with this one person to see if I'm with it. And never really turned back from that. But my coming out story is crazy.
Yeah.
I was in my Virgo bag, feeling myself, hormones is raging, all the things. And my dad walked in on me with a girl in high school. Yep. And he walked in on me doing the deed that you're a lesbian. There could have been lots of deeds. He walked in on the one though.
Yeah.
He saw that. He saw his little girl.
He was going crazy.
Going nuts. Doing the thing. Showing her what I got.
Hey.
That was a terrible day thereafter.
Sorry, Dad. Sorry, Dad. Sorry, Dad. What was the conversation after that? First of all, did you stop? And then the homegirl, the homegirl, like, or did he stop you, or did he just like?
Yeah. So oh my gosh, what a terrible moment to relive. That's I feel safe with you. So
there's some kid out there that's having this experience right now, and that's gonna say, okay, I'll be okay. I'm gonna live.
Yeah.
Like my parents put me out, but they're gonna like let me back in. Like I'm gonna be okay.
Make it. Yeah. I promise you're gonna make it. But the first thing I'm telling you right now is you shouldn't be in your parents' house who pay your rent, busting down anybody. Worry about school. Worry about the sports. Stop worrying about these girls.
Yes, indeed.
Okay.
First
things first. Anyway, I think I'm slick. I closed the door. I'm not allowed to lock doors in my house at the time, right? Because immigrant parents, I don't even know why you got your door closed. Because they don't believe in privacy. Yeah. What are they talking about? I turn my MTV jams up. It's after school. I'm like, oh, it's about to go up. And sure enough, right when it got good and going, my dad, like, he just opened the door. And we both jumped up. He heard her. And we both jumped up. And I was like, oh, shit. And she was like, oh, my God. And I'm like, yo, you got to get out of here. Because when my mom gets home, she's going to kill you.
Yeah.
And me, but she's definitely going to kill you.
Yeah.
My dad's like, all right, this is what you do. He's pissed. Very, very sarcastic man in his very thick accent. He's just like, this is what you do. And I'm like, looking at him. He's looking at me. And he's like, let's call your mom. Let's tell her the good news. Oh. He's pissed. And then I'm like, you got to go. Tell the girl to go. He's like, nah, let her stay. That's your girlfriend or whatever, right? And I'm like, yo, you got to get out of here. You got to go.
So
she leaves. My mom comes home. It's up. My mom's ripping the sheets off the bed. She's going nuts, saying all types of crazy, vulgar things to me. And it got kind of bad. Like, they didn't talk to me for probably the rest of that school year until I popped up with a boyfriend, and then they were like, oh, okay, like, we're good now. It
was a phase. You was just experimenting.
Yeah. I mean, they was rough. They like stopped my best friends from coming over. Cause as parents, they're like, we don't know
who's who.
Who is who.
Yeah.
When we don't care what they look like, mask, fam, it don't matter to us. No, none of these bitches can come over here anymore.
None of them. Not that one.
None of them. So it was tough. It was tough. I remember my mom being like, God bless her, and my dad, because we have really come a long way. They are my best friends now. We talk about everything. But at the time, I remember my mom being like, what did she say? She's like, the only reason why I don't kick you out is because you're my child. And it's like, I think a lot of people don't understand that. I think it's like 80% of youth homelessness is queer youth.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
drug users, all that.
Yeah. So it just sucks. It just sucks. It was rough. But we're great now.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was high school. Where'd you go to college?
Florida Southern.
Okay. So how was Florida Southern with the joints?
It was a private Christian college where I hooped at a private Christian college. And that was also weird. It was a weird experience because you're still navigating your sexuality at the time. Some people, I mean, for me, I still had like micros. So I was giving tomboy. I wasn't giving mask. I was giving just this sports girl.
Yeah.
I don't think I really fell into my just fully being masked and being all right with that, and that identity anyway, until I cut my hair.
Yeah.
And I cut my hair after a breakup, and I got my first little lineup, and I'm like, oh, wait a minute, I feel a little different.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I feel that. I had I remember I cut my hair. I think same, because I was wearing the braids. I was doing the whole thing. I think I cut my hair. I had to be a junior in college.
Yeah.
And I cut like I had a one blade, a Caesar, like
Whoa.
Brooklyn haircut, like
You went
waves,
for it.
the whole thing. Yeah. Well, it's a funny story. And I have to tell it because my wife's gonna watch this episode and she's gonna be like, why you didn't tell him about how you cut your hair? So I was cutting my hair but I was like cutting my actual hair, like with a pair of scissors.
Yeah.
And I fucked my whole hair up. Like I fucked it up. So that's basically how I ended up going to get an actual haircut. Like I kind of had to. And I was like, man, just take it off. Like, you know, and I was like, oh, okay. Like it was kind of like this bad experience that turned into like a very liberating thing. Like, oh, like we good. Now I have braids now. Like I've grown it back since COVID and like, you know, in between there, done little afros, a little, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Kind of like, you know, you had the mohawk joint going, like, you know, you do little variations, but like, yeah, cutting the hair is definitely that's the entryway to like, okay,
That's it.
we out here
Yeah. When you
now.
cut the hair, it's different. That's
It's
like that's
different.
like our coming out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it really is. It really, because at that point it's like, all right, well, people shouldn't do this, but they don't even question it anymore. They're not like, oh, is she like a tomboy or is she like no. Like you cut the hair, it's like, okay, yeah, she's definitely
Yeah. I mean, it's so deep, right? Like there's so like the quest for liberation for Black women specifically, I don't know, it's just such a quest. And I think so much we know that so much is attached to our hair as we've been taught this, right? Like from getting perms to getting, you know, weaving your hair, whatever. So much of our identity is attached to our hair. So cutting your hair is like hella liberating, or just as I could imagine, just as liberating as deciding to wear your natural hair for once, you know?
Yeah, because it's such a because all of it is related to, you know, beauty standards and how you show up if you're, well, fitting into the box, right? Like it's so far out of the box. Like wearing your natural hair is so far out of the box. Cutting your hair as a woman is so far out of the box because people can't, that it makes people think. Like it makes people kind of have to dig more into you than just like, okay, is she just a woman or is that a man? It makes them ask more questions, and I think that's the challenge that people have, is like, I don't understand.
Right.
So now you've done this thing, you've cut your hair, you're wearing your hair natural, like wait, like, is this even acceptable? And you're like, well, why isn't it acceptable? And that makes people have to consider more things, and that's the part that makes it challenging, because for us it's like we've been living with ourselves forever. Like we know who we are, but now making everyone else comfortable with that is like such a hard process that most people just decide not to do it. They're like, I don't even want to be bothered with that. Like I'll just keep my hair, I'll just press it, I'll just, you know, wear the braids or whatever, just to make people not ask me. I mean, like I don't even want them trying to understand. You know?
Yeah.
So it's a wild journey. But for you, fashion over time. So tomboy kind of all through grade school, cut the hair. When were you like, you know, flare jeans with a baggy shirt, jersey with the, you know what I'm saying, crop pants, you know what I mean, the tight jeans on the bottom, loose fit on the top, maybe a hat every now and then? How was your fashion over time?
Yeah, that's wild. Definitely I wore sweatpants a lot. Also we got into like, I followed all the streetwear, you know, when I was younger, like the FUBU and the academics and the Gerbeau jeans and I was definitely that girl. I was definitely I think in my senior superlatives I won best dressed, you know. I was just like always into streetwear, the sneakers, and I really have to go back to my hair because it allowed me, so long as I stayed with braids, so long as I had these little micros or whatever, it didn't matter what I was wearing. I was really giving it to them with the boy clothes.
The clothes was given.
Like baggy stuff, you know? Okay, Nietzsche, top and bottom, velour set, Sean John. I was really...
Rockaware.
Yeah, it's a wonder that nobody thought, like, is she gay? Like, it's just a wonder to me. I wasn't wearing baby fat and all that. I wasn't wearing that.
The tight versions.
No.
The female versions, basically. Yeah, fat.
Wasn't wearing it. I had one Lady and Nietzsche, like, matching velour set that I got for Christmas or whatever. And I wore that one time.
He's like, this ain't it.
That wasn't it. And I'm not really, the other part is, if I'm honest, maybe I would have dressed more femme, but I'm just not bodied like that. And there's so much pressure around, if you're a Black woman, this is what I saw in my experience, then you got to have body.
Yeah.
Or else like it almost felt like you're less than.
Yeah.
Like not only are you not really femme presenting, but then you're not really bodied either when you do try to be femme. So it's like, nah,
Just throw the
we
baggy
not doing
joints
that.
on and cover that all up. But I think
Yeah.
as an athlete, it was kind of it wasn't as much of a, you know what I mean? Like it was a little less like you could kind of get away with it a little bit more. Like you could live into that a little more. If you weren't an
Yeah.
athlete, then I think people would have probably been like, "So what's this about?" You know. But
Yeah.
the basketball girls, they just tomboys, so
Right.
that's just the way they look. So it's just kind of categorized that way. Not really understanding that you are still a woman and
Mm-hmm.
still navigating all of the nuances that what it means to be a woman.
Yeah.
And I think that's one thing, like for me as, you know, masculine presenting woman, and you could talk about your own experience. I think for me, um, there's a lot of things about me that people wouldn't associate with me because of the way I look, right? So one example I always tell people is I'm like, I don't take out the trash. My wife takes out the trash every Thursday. Like, but you look at me, you think like, oh yeah, you have my wife's femme, so like she has to take out the trash. Like
Yeah.
I do the laundry, I clean up the house. Like I'm like my role, like what I look like in a lot of the things that I can do, or that they don't match my look, and so it's like that's sometimes interesting to talk people through, because it's like, well, like at the core I'm a woman, right? Like I
Yeah.
can braid hair, I can
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like I can put on makeup if I have to. Like,
Yeah.
there's a lot of things that are nuanced about being a woman and being mass presenting, but at the core you're still a woman,
Yeah.
And so talk about your experience just being a mass presenting but still a woman. And the reason why I'm narrowing in on that is because there are, especially as sexuality and gender evolves, there are people who look like us that identify as men and they're women or biologically female, right?
Yeah.
So I think still identifying with your gender as a female and looking masculine is a very interesting space. So I want you to talk about your experience with that.
Yeah. Wow. That's a heavy one.
Yeah.
First, I think masculinity and femininity, the masculinity and femininity they're literally made up constructs. Like they don't actually mean anything, to me anyway. Right. And I also think I like to sometimes, I used to play around and be like, I'm mass presenting, but I'm femme of center.
Yeah.
And I would just say that, but I actually have leaned in more to that because I do
Yeah.
believe that I present this way and I'm good at it now. And it's easier for me because I've done it for so long, to wear the clothes that I wear. But as I get older, I'm like, oh, well, I can shop for these pants that are in the female section, and I could throw this cropped shirt on with it, and I could wear this like lacy top if I want to with these slacks and my little tabby loafer. And it's like it's really like non-binary fashion is just kind of what I'm into, because I just want to wear what looks good on me. And we see men doing that now too, right? Like we see these men, NBA players and whoever, getting into their feminine bag. We see them in skirts, we see them in all these things, still bodying it and looking good.
Yeah.
And it doesn't take away from who they are as a man.
As
right?
a man,
Just
right,
like
right.
it doesn't take away from who I am as a woman to wear this suit or whatever, however I want to present. And I think these roles that get assigned to us they're just not real. You know what I mean? They're just so, I don't understand. I think for me and a partner, whoever I'm dating, let's just decide what works best for us and go from there. But there's nothing that you should expect me to do because of how I dress.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah.
And there's nothing I expect you to do because of how you dress. You're femme. Sure. I don't expect you to just like cook all the time or know how to. I don't expect that. I would like it.
I do.
I would like it, but I don't expect it.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of dating,
shoot it.
So coming out of the experience, you and your partner, what was the kind of the exit of that situation? And then, you dating now, what does that look like?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we saw the show, we left together. And in my experience, the ways that we handled conflict were just not, it was just like, we are severely misaligned. And this is not, the ways that we handle conflict are just they're just a no-go for me, and they will be like, I can't do this forever, not this way.
Yeah.
You know? And so I think there's just a severe misalignment. One thing I'm gonna always do is be committed to protecting, right? Like protecting queerness. And so
Yeah.
I think people think
like a true Virgo.
why don't you tell? Like, spilled it to what happened? And it's like,
It's cap. That's crazy.
no, that's crazy and that's cap. Do whatever you want to do.
I don't think people understand that, like, you know, when you do that, you look crazy, because at one point you were very much associated with this person. This was somebody that you loved. This was a part of you. So if people after you experience that person in that way and they choose to do whatever, but it's like, that's a part of me and a part of whatever went left or right. I don't know. And I don't know now still. I think hindsight is it's so crazy.
Mhm.
And, you know, to talk about your person like that, I think it's just insane. Like,
Yeah.
to, you know, there are times where you got to clarify something, right? Like, you
Right.
got to make a point to clarify something that might make you look crazy. But
Right.
I think at the same time, like, talking bad about somebody that you loved at some point and that you shared very intimate space with is just, I don't know, that's just probably a Virgo thing. But
I think it might be. It also could be, I mean, unless there was abuse, right? Unless it
that's
was
true.
just
Yeah.
extremely abusive. But and even then, I think there's a way that you handle that. Me personally, in my experience, I can't speak for everybody, but in my experience, there is a way that you handle even that. Because it's just unsafe. The internet's crazy. It's a wild place. And I don't know, you don't want to draw more attention to yourself either.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
And some of it is like, sometimes talking about your stuff is embarrassing, you know, to talk about like what you stood through for so long and why you did it, you know, and there's a lot of work around value and accepting yourself again and being like, okay, and forgiving yourself for some of the decisions you might have made. So that's why I don't really talk about that much, because no, I can't talk about it in pieces. I got to tell full story.
Yes.
I refuse
full
to talk about
context.
pieces.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. 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 I respect that. So now you're dating.
Yes.
One, what's your type?
Ooh. I like to say that I don't have a type, but I do. I do like athletic girlies. If there's an aesthetic type, I like athletic girlies. I love Black women. I think that was a big misconception. I think I've seen things on the internet where people are like, it's given she don't like Black women. And I'm like, where did y'all get that from? Y'all saw one relationship.
Yeah.
But
you know, like
only dated
they
Black
associate you, they know your whole life based on this show.
on this one, right?
Yeah.
So that's always an interesting talk to have. And then I like to question, like, what is giving you that? What's informing that? And then we got to get back to whatever's informing that. You gotta really check where that's coming from and what biases are making you question that. Is it the way I articulate? Is it the way I present it on a show? Is it because, like, what is making you question that? Because you saw one relationship, and then you got to sit with your own biases as a Black person that you didn't think you had.
Yeah.
You know? But typically, yeah, it's Black women. I like athletic women. I like the ones that be in the gym. I like the Jimmies. I like usually basketball players. They get me caught up. Feminine. Yep. Femmes. Yeah. I'm not a mask person, but femmes for sure. Yeah. Characteristics I think have changed, you know, because I want different results, right? So dating the same way that I've dated previously, expecting different type of people is not it. So I lean more into people that conflict resolve the way I do. I like people that are pro therapy. I like people that, again, understand what centering the most vulnerable looks like and what harm reduction actually looks like. Really gentle people. Yeah. I like you go on this show and we had to ask these questions so much in the beginning to decide who you want to do your trial marriage with. And now I be asking the questions immediately. Like,
what's up?
You know, what do you want? Like, what are you trying to accomplish? Do you want kids? Do you not want kids? How do you want to raise your kids? What did your household look like when you grew up? How are you dealing with your traumas? You know, how are you processing through them? What are deal breakers now?
Yeah.
What are your boundaries? And we don't ask those questions immediately. We wait hella long. We try to do all these cute ass dates, excuse my language.
Yeah.
All this like, let me get these pictures off. Everything feels so good. And we don't ask the questions that matter.
You get in deep 2-3 months, and then turn around 2-3 years, and you stuck with somebody that from the very beginning you knew there was
From
stuff
the
that,
beginning.
the deal breakers, I think, is a big one. And I've talked to a lot of people about dating, and I think one of the biggest things, I think you hit it right on the head, is like people just want to feel good. So, and it's hard to date, right? Like I've been single in a really long time. And so I can't imagine. I always say, like, my heart goes out because it's just insane out here. But like, it's just so hard to get to the truth with people quickly, because everybody just wants it to look the way they want it to look.
Yeah.
I think so when you ask these hard questions, it's the preparation for the letdown, that the answer to that question might not be something you want to hear. And so you just don't ask, because you're like, damn, she's so fine. I just want to, you know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to enjoy this moment with her. We'll get to that later. But then it's like you get your heart broke at the end because you neglected the hard stuff,
Yeah.
So I think it's admirable to go in like that. Like, hey, let's just cut to the chase. I don't want to waste your time. Don't waste mine. Like, you smoke
Yeah.
cigarettes?
Well, and
You know what
define
I
what
mean?
it
Like,
is.
yeah,
But like define what it is in the
yeah,
beginning. Like there's no shame around none of it. People are
yeah.
different and we want different things, and our feelings are allowed to change as much as they
Mhm.
need to. And like in dating now, it's just you got to allow for people to just be who they are and just talk about it. If you just want to meet me and you want to like you want to hook up, let's just talk about
Just
it.
be
How do we
honest
keep
about
each
it.
other safe in that? Then if that's what we're
Yeah.
gonna do, okay, let's get tested and like let's do the thing. If
Mhm.
you just looking to have a good time, okay. If you're looking to date to marry, say that.
Yeah.
Just say that
Yeah.
in the beginning, and then we can just
Yeah.
decide what we
Mhm.
gonna do with that. If you're like, I'm actually dating, I actually don't need new friends. All right, bet.
Mhm.
Then we don't have to do that either. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Yeah.
But
I
like,
literally just told my homie, uh, she's dating, and I told her, I was like, look, you get it. I'm like, it's categories. Look, you got when, and a lot of times women are not gonna say, they're not gonna literally say what they want. You gotta read between the lines and see what it is and put
right.
them in a category. And that's how you don't get your lines crossed. Like, if this girl's saying certain things that she just want to hook up, you
Yeah.
have to put her in the sex category. Like,
Right.
don't even try putting her in a relationship category. All that texting in the morning, how you doing, sweetie? She ain't interested in that.
Right.
Am I gonna see you on Wednesday at 9 o'clock? That's all
Yeah.
she looking for from you. As long as you understand, like, navigating the waters, then you'll be fine. But it's crazy. It's
Yeah.
insane. But that's a part of that communication is just understanding, like, what is she communicating to you? She
Right.
just saying she's giving you all the context that she just trying to smash. She
Yeah.
giving you the context that she ain't really trying to smash. She trying to, like, go the long haul with you. So don't be like, yeah, you trying to come back to my crib, and like you navigate all these a different way.
Yeah.
You know what I
I
mean? And
actually
as long
think
as you get
people are
that,
good at communication. I actually think people are, people are like, oh, they're bad at communication. I'm like, no, I think people are embarrassed to say what they feel.
yeah, 100%.
Just say it. Just
Just
say the
say it. Just be
thing.
honest. But it's not
That's
say.
it.
I think people just haven't felt, or especially with women. I think people are easy. It's easy for people to say, like, I want something serious, or I'm looking for a relationship. But I think when it comes to just like, hey, look, I'm in this space where, like, I just really can't handle that. I just really want companionship, or I just really want, like, sex. Women historically have been looked at as hoes for saying that. Like,
Yeah.
so, the connotation of a woman coming to a situation and saying, like, hey, look, I'm just trying to hook up. I think you're cute. I think we could do this, is like, that's hoe behavior,
Yeah.
historically. But now there's a culture where that is somewhat accepted. And if people were just honest about it, they'd get to that, much quicker. But it's just harder for women to be like,
Yeah.
truthful about it.
Queer culture. I mean, queer culture is so expansive. It allows, the
Yeah.
language is so expansive, and it allows
Yeah.
like sex positive, when you
Yeah.
reframe like what that means, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Or even like, I was talking to somebody recently about this idea of like platonic intimacy. And I'm like, oh, we don't talk
Yeah.
about how that can
Yeah.
exist. I could good
100%.
morning, beautiful you, or you could do
Yeah.
that to me. And
Yeah.
it could be, that could be the dynamic of our relationship. And it doesn't have to
Yeah.
be anything deeper or any more responsibility to it. And we just
Yeah.
have this really beautiful, like intimate existence. And we don't have to have sex
No.
to fuel it.
And you know what's so crazy? Now we get into it. We see, Mal, this is what I'm talking about. You know, you're just so intellectual. This is where we're going with this. But I want to talk about that platonic intimacy. You know why? Because especially with queer people, right? Because a lot of us don't have that closeness in our families, right?
Yeah.
So where you could have gotten built up, where normally you get built up from your family and you know your mom and your dad, and some people still have that, right? But a lot of us come into the queer space with chosen family, and so that's your village, right? Those are the people who have the potential to give you that, you know, fill your cup up in that way, to say your confidence and say, girl, you look nice today, like, and you don't have to go seek it in another place, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to go seek that from somebody that you're about to go on a date with. You can walk into the date like, I feel good about myself, I'm
Yeah.
confident, and you don't have to get the validation from them, you know? And so I think this community, I think we should lean more into that, right? Like, it doesn't have to be sexual. You can just have your friends that are like, yeah, girl, like, you could do anything you want to do. You going on that job interview, let me help you. Let me, you know, let me build you up. Let me really, you know, rally around you so that you don't go
Yeah.
seeking that in the wrong place, you know? And
Yeah.
so I think that's super critical.
I think so too. I think also like the dynamic between, you know, we follow into these like heteronormative patterns, right? Where we're like, masc people being friends with femme people immediately means
Yeah.
we gotta be fucking. And that's
Yeah,
not,
it's absolutely not the case
you
all the
know,
time.
or
A
that we
lot of
have to
times it
explore
is, but
that.
it's not always the case. We don't even have
Yeah.
to go there.
It doesn't
It
have
could
to.
just be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
it could
100%.
just be that, you know, and or another topic I think is like, sometimes some of your best friends, because our community is already so small, and this is our chosen family, sometimes your ex is like, ends up being one of your best friends.
Yeah.
My longest best friend is an ex that I had for 7 years. It's one of my best friends. She's like family to me. We would never take it there.
Yeah.
But that's one of my exes, you know what I mean? And it's like the community is already so small. There's gonna be crossover.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you don't own people.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't own
No.
them.
Yeah.
It's okay if your homie dates like an ex you had 5 exes ago.
It is, but
They're
you
not
know,
off
that's like
limits.
that's bringing again more heteronormative code into it. It's like bro code. Like,
Yeah.
if your homie touched her, like, you can't even cross that line with her. Like, nah, she off limits. But to your point, like, the community, the open community, the
Yeah.
community that's in the community, that's not like tiptoeing here, you know, she got a girl over here, she would got a husband over here, you know, the community that's out, that's active, that wants to date, is very small. You know, people who
It's
are healed,
small.
the healed community, you know, people who are in a mind space where they can actually handle that can be trusted to handle another person.
Right.
You know, it is very small, you know. And so I do agree. I think, you know, people have to be mature enough to handle that, you know, mature enough to navigate both being friends with an ex, but then also dating someone who was in your circle, because that can get messy sometimes. And so,
Yeah.
you know, you just gotta be very mature and
Yeah.
able to handle that type of situation. So talk about, I mean, some of your dating experiences recently. You know, have you had any worse ones, any ones that have made you be like, man, I could really marry her, or that make you say, you know what, I'm gonna be single?
Sorry, I was looking at your sneakers. I was not.
Oh.
I got distracted. Okay, because you have my favorite sneaker back there. My bad.
Oh, which one?
It's are those the copper 16s?
No, oh yeah, wait, right here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, I need
They
that.
dead stock too. I ain't never worn them.
Oh God,
Yeah.
I need that.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
What size?
8.5.
Oh yeah, your feet small. No, I ain't.
Dating experiences. You know what? I haven't had dating experiences since the show that have been bad, to be real with you. I've had very, very good, really wonderful experiences. I think whether they worked out or not has been because of me. It's just been because of me having things that I still really want to heal through.
Yeah.
That's just that I'm bringing to new relationships. That's just not their baggage, for real. So that's the reason why they have not worked out. I'm just like, whoa, I need to work through this, because there is stuff coming back up that's just not fair.
Yeah.
But I've dated really wonderful, wonderful people.
Yeah.
One of which I was really like, whoa, I could see what life could be like with you. I could do this with you for real, for real. But yeah, it's just been me.
Yeah.
That's all it's been.
Healing and Love it.
And knowing what you have capacity for. Like,
yeah,
there's the healing aspect of things. And my therapist is amazing. She really helped me point out, well, she did this exercise with me where I wrote down like every time I knew there was a red flag and I like didn't listen to my intuition about the situation in my previous relationship. She's like, and I know you knew it because you're highly intuitive, and write it all down. So I wrote it all down. And then she's like, and then write down a list of all the things you want in a new partner and how you want to feel. And I did that. And sure enough, I got exactly that. And then I'm like, oh, okay, this is how it feels to have it. I might need to tweak this again. So I rewrote the list and then got exactly that, you know? And then the show kind of popped off, and the way life looks now and the way I want to show up in relationship is just, it conflicts, you know? There's a lot going on, and I don't think that I have capacity to really be present or pour into a relationship. The relationship with me is what I'm pouring into, and setting my own self up. So as of right now, I'm chilling. But dating has been beautiful. And so when people are like, dating's, it's garbage, it's the ghetto out there, I'm like, I don't know. I can't really, I don't think that it is that. I think that that might be a reflection of where one is. How you come into
the space,
Yeah. And because you will attract what you reflect. So there's that part. But I think it's been the two people that I tried to seriously date, they were wonderful experiences. They were really, really, really wonderful. And I'm hella private, you know, I'm very private about what I'm doing, who I'm doing it with. Yeah. And I will be for
as you should. I mean, you literally put a whole relationship on TV.
Yeah.
I think that's enough.
Yeah.
I think
I'm not doing it
privately again. is good. And you know.
Yeah. I don't think I'm gonna be one of those internet couples. I love them down. I be fangirling the internet couples. But me, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I mean, I'm very much the same. My son just turned 1. We haven't even shown his face on the internet.
Yeah.
My wife pops up every now and then just so people know, like, hey, there's a woman here. Taken. But, you know, my wife's not interested. She's like, nah, that's your thing. You do your thing. But, you know, even married, you know, we've been together for 15 years. And she's like, yeah, no, I'm cool. Like, you know, so I get it. I navigate that way. I think that's your relationship, aside from other things that you may select, is like the closest thing to you. It's the most sacred thing to you. Like who you share that space with is so critical, you know. So I feel you. So you're still working with the show. They have a new season coming up, casting, you know, talk to the people about who the show is looking for, and you know, who makes a good candidate for this type of show.
I think people think there's this misconception. I think people think they need to like come on and like perform, right? So it's none of that. It's just loving, like, committed couples. That's it. There's literally no other requirement. Loving committed couples, period. And like non-abusive people. And that's it. And I say that very lightly because we see what happened in the last episode. There were like some bouts of domestic violence that came up and things like that. And when you think about filming, there's so much that sometimes you don't, like, production doesn't know. And then it comes up after the fact, right? We filmed Ultimatum 2 years prior to it actually airing.
Wow.
So much change.
So much life has happened in the midst of that.
And then when they air it, consumers are thinking this is today. This is current. This is current time. When really it happened 2 years ago. So like the issue with pronouns and stuff came up. And it's like, well, some of these folks were not identifying as they, them out loud anyway. At the time. And then the show came out. You know, and so much life has happened and so much has just changed. But when we talk about couples, what we're looking for, that's it. Just loving, committed couples. I, you know, luckily got to be a part of casting this time. So now I'm a casting producer and I'm helping select couples as well. And I mean, if you know me, you know I'm really for the people. And so, and I have a different lens in how I see life and how I see people, right? Which just adds to, I don't know, diversity and inclusion. And there are ways, I think there's Black code, you know, if you will. And there
Yeah.
are ways we understand each other, and there are ways you might tell a story, or I might ask a particular question because I just have that advantage and that angle and the ability to be like, yeah, push them forward, you know,
Mm-hmm.
the next production. So I don't
Yeah.
have like the magic thing, you know, just
Mm-hmm.
loving committed couples who are really, really want to try this experience.
Who partner might go over there and get entangled with somebody else.
That could happen. That could happen, but it can happen in your regular life too. I always tell people this. They like, that show is gonna ruin a relationship, and I'm like, nah, I can't ruin anything that wasn't already shaky in the foundation before you came there. It can't. The show can't ruin that. There's no script, so it can't ruin your relationship.
Yeah, I think it's the infusion of. I think it's the curation of the environment. I think is what scares people. It's like, okay, it could happen in the wild, as you call it. I love that you call it the wild. It could happen in the wild, right? But like, maybe it could, maybe it couldn't. Maybe they would have never crossed paths with someone that they were interested in enough to do this with, because it's a dating process. Like you're coming into an environment and you're dating other people with the intention of expanding your mind to what is the possibility of your relationship, right? So I think that's scary for people. Like, but I think if to your point, if it was already shaky, it kind of speeds up the inevitable so that you can get past it. Like it's like an accelerator for what was already going to happen, like an inevitable result. Yeah. And you just get to the bottom, and now they may get into this environment and be like, yeah, no, I'm cool. I really want to be with you. Or it could be like, actually, you know what?
Maybe. And I say to that, like, you know, to your point, you might meet somebody there and it's scary to think like, oh my God, my partner might actually fall for somebody else. But that wouldn't even be an issue if you ask your partner, like, if you ensured that your needs were being met to begin with, then it wouldn't even be an issue. If your needs are being met to begin with, you go into this experience and you meet somebody else that you're like, oh, I don't know, I feel a way for them. Then maybe you want to explore ethical non-monogamy. I don't think that it's this experience then made you like open to other things. I think we need to ask deeper questions to our partners and like the constructs that we're participating in. You know what I mean? People are like, I'm monogamous and don't set your partner up for this. And it's like, are you really monogamous or do you want to explore non-monogamy? And I am, mind you, I think that I am a monogamous person. Like that's the construct that I practice. But do I understand non-monogamy? 1000%. 100%. I get it. Hence us going through the show. Y'all didn't fall for Xander because, you know, I think Xander's a wonderful human, to be real with you. Yeah. But her needs weren't being met by me. We learned that in the show. We knew that before we got there because we was in therapy every week for a year. You know, we just went on a show and it just sped shit up. Yeah. We would have broken up anyway. Yeah.
But that's super. I mean, that's just again, going back to even the dating thing, right? Like asking the hard questions up front. It's just people are afraid of confirming what they already know exists. Like, you already know this person probably don't want no kids, and you want kids, but you are so enamored with them or so afraid of the end that you won't ask, or you won't, you know. So coming into this environment, it's like you already know, you know, you guys came in knowing like, hey, look, this is where we're at. Your needs are not being met, mine are not being met. This experience is just going to essentially speed up what we already know exists.
Yeah.
And here we are.
The scarcity mindset, right? Like we date in scarcity, and I understand why. And also create space for the thing that you want to exist. Yeah. If this person isn't working for you, then free them and free yourself. Yeah. And you're going to find the thing that you want. You're going to call it in, create the space for the thing that you want.
Yeah. For the thing you want. Yeah. Yeah. But that's an abundant mindset. That's not can't be scared to live like that, because that means you might have to be single.
And as I preach to you, I preach to myself. Okay. Because it's taking me, there are some days where I'm like, damn, I really want to be with a person. And there's some days and I'm like, no. Don't do it just yet. Yeah. It's chill. You know?
I feel it. Ma, I appreciate you coming on here talking to me. It's definitely a fruitful conversation. I know people are gonna learn a lot more about you, the person outside of this experience that brought you to this space, which I'm grateful for because you're an amazing person. Give one piece of advice to somebody out there that's going through their own journey of whether it be a relationship that they may feel like they can't be in or that they shouldn't be in, or they're dating. Just give them a piece of advice.
Mm, spend some time with yourself. Spend some time with yourself and get to know like what you really, really want and be okay with that. And like, yeah, that's it. Just know what you want and name it. And it can be anything. Like, stop being afraid to be like, actually, I do want whatever. I do want this type of person. Like, it's cool. Just name the thing that you want and spend some time with your own self so you can really figure out what it is that you want. And give yourself grace for it to change. Like, try the things, Yeah. You're allowed to change what you want 1,000 times. That's the only way you're gonna get to the meat of what you're actually wanting,
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I love that. Again, thank you for coming. Tell the people where they can find you.
I go by Mal on every handle. All the handles, that's my name. It's I go by Mal. And yeah, that's it. Stay tuned. We got some big things coming up. We got a international party going on. We're working on a jewelry line, talk engagements. Like there's a lot of big things going on. Podcast. I think that's the right way to go. So there's a lot of things going on. Follow me. Keep you updated with all the things.
Yeah. Love it, man. Thank you so much again, Mal, for coming on the show. Y'all already know I'm your host, Ashley. This is another episode of the Queerly Blax Show. I'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace.